beautiful Wednesday morning on the Utop of Ikejile, Ijesha, right here at BC 95.3 FM. Grateful to God for another day. Today is Wednesday, 28th of May. Tomorrow is 29. You know what it means? President Bola Tinubu will be celebrating 2 years of leadership. And this is all already on the front pages of our dailies today. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's wait and hear what the president has to say on his speech. Has to say on the second anniversary as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We really love to hear it, but aside hearing whatever the president has to say, how do we move from here? It's been 2 years. The next 2 years, what is going to be? And while we are all about that, as citizens as well, there is a part for us to play in all of this. It's not just the president. President is not the only one in this country, and it's not the only one who is, in that position to do what is right by this country. We all have a role to play as a responsible, citizens of Nigeria. We have to play our part to see that we get this nation to where we want it to be. I'm Loa Funke Israel, and it's time for newspaper review. I will bring you all of the top headlines on our dailies and the details. Do well to join the conversation this morning on Facebook and YouTube at Vicinity 95.3 FM. This morning, I'll be taking the headlines from the Punch newspaper, The Guardian, Daily Independence, Daily Trust, and Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Punch, PDP NEC made under pressures. INEC validates VK-backed secretary, and FIU probes 480 billion naira, 48 billion naira suspicious transfer to Dubai, Hong Kong. Fresh 24 billion naira. Fresh $24 billion borrowing may balloon Nigeria's debts to 183 trillion. Now set to approve Tinubu's loan request. Foreign debt near $70 billion. Economists worry over high debt servicing. These are the top stories on the Punch newspaper. And what is left is celebrating 2 years of leadership and progress. This is on the front page of the Punch. Already, congratulations has begun to pour in for the president. Let's move to the Guardian. Still on the Guardian. There's not much to say. Well, on the Guardian, yesterday it was Children's Day, and we all took our time to mark Children's Day, 27th of May, and it's still alarming to tell you that 10 million girls in Nigeria alone cannot afford sanitary pads, sanitary towel. And happy children, happy World Menstrual Hygiene Day. So today is World Menstrual Hygiene Day. Yesterday was Children's Day, and it is also devastating to know that over 10 million children are out of school, and now we hear 10 million girls cannot even afford sanitary pads. 10 million, 10 million. Does it sound like a coincidence? Now, fresh loans may push Nigeria's debts to 182 trillion naira. And congratulations for the presidency from our chief government, Owozibe Ekpemekpolo, popularly known as Tom Polo. This is all we've got on the front page of The Guardian. Now to Daily Independent. Okay, I think I'll move. Apologies to Daily Trust. Daily Trust. After 1 year, PDP NEC finally meets and celebrating 2 years of leadership and progress. Well, we don't have much of headlines on a front page because they're all been dedicated to celebrate the presidency. Now to Nigerian Tribune. FG directs 3-year ban on students caught in exam malpractice. JAMB, WAEC, NECO to ban center involved in exam fraud. INEC still recognizes Anyanwu as PDP National Secretary report. Committee of the chairman's son accomplice jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy scam. Hmm. One died, many trapped in Ikorodu building collapse. Muslims to observe Eid al-Kabir Friday, June 6. 1.2 million Nigerians displaced by flood in 2024, NEMA. APC plotting one-party rule out of fear of 2027 defeat. PDP neck. We will never succumb to intimidation, exclusion. Governors. NEC to discuss National Secretary position, June 30. I won't attend PDP meeting until Wike Otham orders are expelled. Lamido. Troops foil ISWAP attack in Mate, kill scores, recover explosives. This is all the top stories on Nigerian Tribune. And on Guardian newspaper, that adds for 180 trillion naira as Tinubu seeks fresh 34.15 trillion naira loans. Then on the rest of the front page is congratulatory message from our chief government Owazidibe Ekpeme Polo, celebrating Governor Tinubu's 2 years in office. Now let's take the details of these headlines from Vanguard newspaper. PDP to Tinubu, insecurity, economy worsening under your watch. Against all odds, People's Democratic Party, PDP, yesterday held its 99th National Executive Committee meeting, where it expressed worry over the worsening insecurity and dwindling state of the economy under President Bola Tinubu's watch. Still on that story, it also accused the All Progressives Congress APC of attempting to stifle opposition parties and turn Nigeria into one-party state. Also, the party's NEC yesterday said it would consider the resolution of its Southeast Caucus at its meeting slated for June 30, 2025. These were some of the resolutions contained in a communique issued at the end of the meeting held in Abuja. Stories on the Vanguard newspaper. Naira depreciates on business to 1,622 in parallel market. And moving on, adopters of 3 church members in Ondo demands 15 million naira. Akure adopters of the 3 members of the Deeper Life Bible Church in Akure North local government area of Ondo State have reportedly demanded a 15 million naira ransom for their release. Recall that the church members were adopted Monday evening while returning from Bible study at Kashemola area in Ogbese community. The family source told newsmen that the adopters have opened line of communication with the family and the leadership of Deeper Life Bible Church. The source said that they have contacted them and have demanded for a ransom of 5 million naira each. They say we are raising money from well-wishers and church members to be able to pay the ransom. Meanwhile, the church leaders have organized prayer to intercede for the release of the kidnapped church members. The source in the church who confirmed the development said they have also reported the incident to the police and Amotekun Corps in the states. Stories on the Vanguard newspaper. Sealing of PDP secretariat. Wike's actions sacrilege, unacceptable. Lamido. FCT minister doesn't belong to your society of lawlessness. Wike's head tells Lamido when leaders of the People's Democratic Party, including chairman of the Board of Trustees, Senator Adolphus Mubarak, former governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Sule Lamido, yesterday came hard on the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, for instigating the sealing of the party secretariat over alleged non-payment of ground rent. Also involved in the condemnation of Wike were Deputy National Chairman of the party, Chief Bode George and Chief Dele Momodu. The PDP leaders who described Wike's action as sacrilegious and unacceptable called for his expulsion. The story is on the Vanguard newspaper. And CBN introduces financial instruments to deepen non-interest banking sector. Central Bank of Nigeria has introduced 3 non-interest financial instruments with the aim of deepening the non-interest financial market. The non-interest financial instruments consist of the deployment of the Nigerian non-interest financial institutions master repurchase agreement, the commencement of auction of the CBN non-interest assets-backed security, and CBN non-interest notes. A circular signed by its acting director of Financial Markets Department, Oke Umeano, the CBN directed all eligible and authorized participants to take necessary measures to integrate the instrument into their operations and ensure compliance with extant guidelines, circulars, and relevant regulatory framework. Story on the Vanguard. Now move to Daily Trust. Top stories on Daily Trust newspaper. 1 year after PDP holds National Executive Council meeting, after more than a year of delays and multiple postponements, the National Executive Committee of the Opposition People's Democratic Party finally convened on Tuesday in Abuja. The meeting, held at the party's presidential campaign office, Legacy House in Maitama, was relocated from the PDP National Secretariat in Wuse Zone 5, which was sealed on Monday by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The last NEC meeting was held on April 18, 2024. Since then, repeated efforts to reconvene the party's highest decision-making body had been frustrated by internal divisions and leadership wrangling, which reportedly took intense pressure from party leadership and PDP governors to ensure Tuesday meeting held, following a controversial statement by the embattled National Secretary, Senator Samuel Ayawu, announcing a postponement. Story is on Daily Trust newspaper. Still on Daily Trust, Maman Ali, son of ex-PDP chair, jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy fraud. Mama Ali, son of ex-PDP, has been jailed for 14 years. The Special Offences Court in Ikeja, Lagos, convicted and sentenced Mama Ali's son, Obamadu Ali, former chairman of PDP, People's Democratic Party, to 13 years imprisonment over 2.2 billion naira oil subsidy fraud. Christian Taylor, an oil marketer, was sentenced alongside Ali to 14 years imprisonment. Mama and Taylor were initially arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on a 49-count charge, which included conspiracy to obtain money by false pretenses, obtaining money by false pretenses, forgery, and the use of false documents, offenses that contravene the advance fee fraud, and other fraud-related offenses, Act 2006 on the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011. They were accused of obtaining the sum of 1 billion naira from the federal government by claiming that the sum represented subsidy accruing to Nasserman Oil Services under the Petroleum Support Fund for the importation of 20 billion liters of petroleum motor spirits, PMS. This story is on Daily Trust. Now, it's a former PDP chairman's son. So, you might want to castigate and say, how about other people who, have been arraigned over allegations of fraud and misappropriation of public funds? Why are they not in jail? Well, you are the son of a former, political party leader. And this is an opportunity, of course, for you to, do some things and you think you can get away with it. Sometimes, some of us do not. We can say that, well, some people did the same thing and, the law did not catch up with them. But you did, and the law did catch up with you. So stay away from fraud. It's that simple. And if our country learn to, penalize these people, maybe others will learn. Or we'll see some people, will not even serve the term. They will not even be charged, let alone serve the term. One will take corruption seriously and know that serious penalty will be meted on whoever is caught, siphoning public funds. Others will sit up, and that's just the truth. Moving away from that story, still on Daily Trust. Imo school shot over death of children from diphtheria. An unconfirmed number of children have been confirmed dead in Umbutu community in Abo, Mbese, local government area of Imo State due to outbreak of diphtheria. The chairman of Abo, Mbese local government, Barrister Ikwemere Henry Alaribe, confirmed the death of the children in a statement dated May 26. Diphtheria is caused by a toxin-producing bacterium called Corynebacterium diphtheriae. The bacteria usually infects the nose and throat, but can also affect the skin and spread through the air via respiratory droplets, and from coughing or sneezing, or through direct contact with infected individuals or contaminated objects. Already, the local government chairman has ordered a temporary closure of schools in Umbutu to checkmate the spread. This is sad. We just celebrated Children's Day yesterday, but now we hear students died from diphtheria outbreak in Imo schools. Well, I bet they should keep these schools shut until the matter has been addressed by the necessary authorities. Court awards 900 million naira against El Rufai orders for rights violation of Adara elders. The Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna has awarded 900 million naira in damages against former Kaduna State Governor and 5 orders over the unlawful arrest and detention of Adara community elders in 2019. Delivering judgment on Tuesday, Justice Awa Buhari ruled in favor of Awemi Dio Masamari and 8 other southern Kaduna Dara elders who were detained following the killing of the traditional ruler, Dr. Raphael Meiwada Galadima. The court dismissed preliminary objections raised by the respondents, who argued that the federal court lacked jurisdiction and that the case was based on thoughts rather than fundamental human rights violations. Justice Borari found no merit in the argument and proceeded to deliver a substantive ruling. This story is on Daily Trust newspaper. Nigerian debt to hit 162 trillion naira as President Bola Tinubu seeks 17 trillion naira loans. Nigeria's public debt profile will rise to 162 trillion naira as President Bola Tinubu sought the National Assembly's approval of fresh loans. The President requested the legislature to approve new borrowing plans totaling $21.5 billion, along with 2.19 billion euro and 15 billion Japanese yen and a 65 million euro grant as part of federal government 2025-2026 borrowing framework, using the current official exchange rate as of May 27, 2025 at 650 naira to a dollar. A proposed borrowings of $21 billion and other borrowings will amount to 17.355 trillion naira, pushing the country's debt burden to 162 trillion naira. The President's fresh loan request is contained in letters read separately at both chambers of the National Assembly by Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. We're borrowing again. It's just 2 years. Exactly 2 years. President Bola Tinubu marked 2 years in office tomorrow. Now, almost every country, do borrow. So even the greatest of them all, United States, they borrow, they owe debt. True. We must find a way to make sure that the way servicing our debt is not affecting the country. Because when we borrow more than we can pay for, that we will stand at deficit. And this story is all over the place on the fresh borrowing. Of course, this has drawn attention to everyone because you're borrowing. Well, you say I'm not the one paying for it. Well, we all together paying for this, because if the presidency is going to, the federal government is going to continue to service this debt, you know what it means for all of us in the country. Rivers Administrator to defend budget before National Assembly joint panel. Since the declaration of a state of emergency, Rivers Administrator cannot act alone, since lawmakers are not in that state, because they were also suspended when they were during the declaration of state of emergency. At this point, whatever steps the sole administrator in River State is going to take, it would go through the National Assembly, because they will be lawmakers presiding over any budget funding or whatever the sole administrator is going to table before them, especially when it includes making law in Rivers. The Senate on Tuesday disclosed that the sole administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibox Ete Ibas, along with other key officials, will defend the state's 2025 budget before the Joint National Assembly had a committee on emergency rule in Rivers State. The Senate also reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring that the people of Rivers State are not shortchanged following the declaration of emergency rule by President Bola Tinubu on March 18. This was revealed by the Senate leader and chairman of other committees, Senator Koyemi Bamidele, during the committee's inaugural meeting held at the new Senate wing of the National Assembly complex in Abuja. Recently, we knew that we were told that President Bola Tinubu had approved a budget and passed it to the National Assembly, and now you're coming to defend how you are really going to expedite actions on the money, on the budget, and the sole administrator will be doing that before the National Assembly. Now, EFCC chair, insiders aiding international bank hackers. It's not our account though. How much do we have? The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, says the anti-graft agency has arrested several bank staff members who granted access to local and international hackers, enabling coordinated cyber attacks on Nigerian banks. Speaking in an interview on TV News, Olukoyede exposed how insiders within the banks collaborate with hackers operating remotely from regions like Eastern Europe and the United States to take control of bank platforms and swiftly transfer billions of naira out of the system. You know, something like this, when there is the hands of insiders, you can, yeah, you can track it, but you know that we've been compromised on all level because it's not the first time we're hearing, bank workers, do these things. They connive with other, fraud groups out there, to defraud bank customers. And now this is even huge. They are now collaborating with international hackers to see they siphon people's money. And now we get to talk about only the government, but see what other people are doing. Just ordinary Nigerians saying that this job I have is not enough. The money they pay me is not enough. Let's find a way, to rob customers of their hard-earned money. And you're not just doing it, it's not even a local thing. You're now partnering with international hackers in other countries. I hope when they get these people, they are locked up, because this money you're siphoning, people work hard for it, and then this will not allow us to even completely trust the system, the banking system. Well, now that we know, something should be addressed, we are battling cyber crimes. Banking industry also were there thinking that we can't keep our money in our houses, and while we have it in the banks, the banks are also finding a way to steal from us. So where do we keep our money? This story is on the Punch newspaper. Autopsy reveals Olariwaju's pre-existing heart condition. If you remember the young man, a boxer, who died after collapsing in the ring in I think that was in Ghana. A government-appointed committee investigating the death of Nigerian boxer Segun Olariwaju has revealed that the fighter had pre-existing heart conditions, while also exposing serious regulatory failures by the Ghana Boxing Authority, which had no licensed doctor present when the boxer collapsed. Veteran journalist and boxing expert Eko Asma, who was part of the committee set up by Sports Minister Kofi Adams to investigate Olariwaju's death, disclosed that pathological examination had uncovered underlying cardiovascular issues that contributed to the tragic incident. The pathologist was able to diagnose the death of the boxer in specific detail and realized that he had a pre-existing condition, an enlarged heart. There was no, certified medical personnel, at, the event. Something like this, wrestling, boxing. While we enjoy these sports, they're also very delicate, because this involves, punching people, eating people. There should be medical personnel, standing by in case of any situation of this nature. Well, if you recall, Olariwaju, is a boxer of Nigerian origin, who had his career going for him in Ghana before the sad event. He left a wife, a daughter, and family. I hope God will continue to give them the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss, but this will also help them have closure to what happened on that ring, because there were concerns that, was this a way to make the other person win, or did they do something to him? Well, this eventually, if these findings are true, well, to help the family understand what was the nature of the death. Is Vicinity 95.3 FM on newspaper review this morning. You can join the conversation with a comment on our Facebook page before calling today on the show. You can call us to 081 3237 1268. 081 3237 1268. Enjoy.
just got excited.
This is
Vicinity FM 95.3. Radio just got excited.
this Vicinity FM 95.3.
For added value, Vicinity 95.3 FM is calling on individuals, public and private establishments to advertise their goods and services on Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha, Osun State. With our wider reach in Osun, Ondo, Ekiti, Oyo, Kwara, and Kogi State, we are set to take your products and services to greater heights. For more information on advert placement and program sponsorship, please call Adeshola on 0810-862-9457. 0810-862-9457. We offer only premium services at Vicinity 95.3 FM.
We are your connection to the sounds that surrounds you.
And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I
Hit music belongs here.
This is Vicinity FM 95.3.
Yeah, welcome back from that break. It's Vicinity newspaper review still on the Punch. Police on kidnappers of 3 Ondo Church members. The Ondo State Police Command said its operatives have launched a manhunt for the gunmen who adopted 3 persons at the Wese community in Akure North local government area of the state. Punch correspondent learned that the gunmen had demanded a sum of 50 million naira for the release of their victims. Punch gathered that the gunmen attacked and kidnapped the victims while returning from Bible study program at the church on Monday evening. The matter was said to have been reported at the police command and the Motekun Corps. At this point, the state governor, insecurity is all over the place, but we hear more of this in Southwest again, and most especially in those states. And there was a time we hear that they would find a way to contain this continuous kidnapping, adoption of residents in those states. Something should be done. You can work at night, you can work in the day, you can travel. This is happening in the capital city. Now imagine what is also taking place in other regions in the state. This call for concerns, and the people are saying that Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa should up his game, because this is not really a good one. Just recently we heard of the reports that they're going to launch an attack in Owo, and people are like, hey, so now they tell us that they are coming and all of that. Imagine the boldness and security. We're doing, they're doing all they can. They should also double efforts on this, because the more we see crime, the more we have to double our efforts in tackling this crime. So it does not, wear on us. We're humans. These people also, they're humans. Maybe they find a way to make money, but this is not how to make money. We all will not take to crime because we want to live a good life. There's dignity in labor, and this is crime, and it must be addressed. This story is on the Punch newspaper. So yesterday was Children's Day. President Bola Tinubu celebrated children, and the story is on the Punch this morning. Children's Day, Tinubu governors promise safe environment. And we know the theme this year is Stand Up, Speak Up, Let's Eradicate Bullying. Yes, the way an adult say I'm bullied. Children, 1 out of 3 children, experience bullying. And President Bola Tinubu, his wife, Oluremi Tinubu, governors, and other prominent personalities in the country have reaffirmed their commitment to nurturing and protecting children from abuse, especially bullying. In the speeches to mark the Children's Day on Tuesday, they described the children as Nigeria's future leaders, innovators, and change makers. In a statement posted on his official X on Tuesday to celebrate Children's Day, the president said, "They are the pride and future of this great nation." And he celebrated 2025 National Children's Day with immense pride and profound joy. So, like we've said, our leaders are reaffirming their commitment to nurturing and protecting our children from abuse. We hope they stick to their words because you know what they say, words can be cheap. Action is where the real deal is. Let's continue to, talk about these policies that protect our children because children can be really vulnerable. Their innocence, and let's protect that so we don't have people snatching away their cradle as little as they are. Let's keep to our word. One thing is you can promise an adult and fail, but don't ever promise a child and fail. They say children easily forget things, not the promise. If you promise a child something, they'll keep coming back until you fulfill that promise. So if we say we will give this support to children, let's stand by these words. Today might not be Children's Day, but for every other day, let's continue to protect the right of every children out there. They deserve it. They deserve it. Either they're vulnerable, their children well trained, children from elite, children of the elites. All of them face bullying. You go to all these big schools, you hear that children there are bullied, and their parents pay a lot of money to get them there. Children, that are from average family, poor background, also face the same thing. So we should all cater to all of the children out there. They matter. They are the future. If we would like it or not, all of us will not be here. At some point in our lives, we will have to, take the back seats and let them, stand in the front row to do what is needful. Let's continue to protect the right of children out there. And to this end, I guess this is where I get to say bye on the show this morning, newspaper review. And we also had a great time here hosting some of the children. We, had them here, and it's good to see these children because you just see the future through them, and you want to see we saw a brighter future through them, and this is what we want to have. We hope that we get to allow them have a brighter future, and inspire the system we create now. And if we are all, our system is falling short to doing the right thing by these children, tell me, what are we going to leave for them? So that's what they say. They say sometimes when you belong in a family that your parents are really working hard to leave something for you, to save posterity. And we should do same for these children. The children, they may be over, but their life, they still have their life here. Every day, let's continue, to put in that effort to see that we continue to contribute positively to the lives of these children. Let's not be a bad example. One way to do it is, let's not be a bad example. We should nurture these children and then give them the best training that even money cannot buy. Because what money can buy, honestly, it's okay. But when you give them the best that money cannot buy, you'll be surprised anywhere they find themselves in the world, they will represent you well, our country well, and also do well by, society. Amolo Afunke, it's been great to be here this morning on Newspaper Review. Do well to join us same time tomorrow from 7:30 to 8:15. We'll bring you all of the top stories on our dailies. Have yourself a great day. Executive producer of Newspaper Review is Adishola Salami. And I'm grateful to the technical crew for making this a smooth ride.
Hit music belongs here.
I got the keys to the city,
This is Vicinity FM 95.3. Radio just got excited.
This is
Vicinity FM 95.3.